Today we focus on not just deceit, but downright stupidity. New revelations about the people signing off on all those fraud closure documents. Huge financial firms now accused of hiring hairstylists, Walmart floor cleaners, truck divers, assembly line personnel to work as so-called foreclosure experts, although they were never given any formal training on foreclosure. Better yet, in a newly released set of court documents, these alleged robo-signers admit they barely knew what a mortgage was, let alone what it meant to possess title, securitization, or to foreclose on somebody's home. And yet these were the pros, the professionals, hired by the likes of Bank of America and J.P. Morgan, banks that you support with your tax dollars through the Federal Reserve, not to mention direct money, so that they can help kick you out of their home with Walmart floor workers. They don't check the facts. Are we certainly not sitting here, or I should say we are certainly not sitting here calling these people ignorant per se. It just appears they had no place in the system, nor were they trained in any way that would suggest they're prepared to serve in the system. As the information about the depth of the fraud and the idea that this could go directly to the federal government, who could force 10, 20% of the money that was stuck in our gut in 2008 back onto the books of these banks as it's revealed to be fraudulent. Well, that not good for bank stocks. They've been tumbling dramatically over the past 48 hours as investors no doubt concerned about the extent of the systematic fraud that has been at the core of the housing finance system in this country for too long, was covered up in the collapse of 2008, and now, like the telltale heart, may be revealing itself to everybody in this country once and for all. Joining us now, Florida defense attorney Peter Ticktin, who this week brought to light the poor training and qualifications of many of these signing agents. He is currently handling a mountain of foreclosure cases in Florida. With him, Don Thomas, a Vietnam War veteran whose home was recently foreclosed on. Mr. Thomas, tell us a little bit about your story.
Well, first of all, I wasn't injured in Vietnam. It was on a training mission in Fort Hood, Texas. But my story was simply, I got behind on my mortgage a month, and then I tried to contact the mortgage company, and they had sold mine to another company, and I got lost in the shuffle. And by the time I could get to the right party, I was already served at my door telling me I had 30 days to get out if I didn't take action. And that really was just not right. Something was not right. And that's when I hired Peter and the Ticktin Group to go to fight for me. And fortunately, they got in front of a judge that was able to listen and look and said herself that we need to take another look at this. Something was wrong.
Peter, what was wrong?
Well, you know, they had moved ahead without giving him proper service in the first place. This is a case where we are still now in litigation, but hopefully we'll be able to eventually have victory that we will have stolen out of the jaws of defeat, because he had already lost the case without his knowing about it.
If you could elaborate, Mr. Ticktin, though, on what the failure was in this particular case, and then in the context of all the cases you're handling, is what you're dealing with Mr. Thomas here a common problem?
Yes, that was. Absolutely. The process servers would sometimes not serve a person at all in the first place. I had a lady come to me one time whose house, she didn't even know she was in foreclosure until the sheriff was putting a 48-hour notice, taping it to the front of her door. And then once, because there already was a judgment, no lawyer was willing to take her case because they all were saying it was too late. She went to the courthouse. Nobody there could help her. She tried dealing with the lender. They wouldn't help her. The lender's lawyer wouldn't help her. And it's kind of a funny story in a way, because I had an advertisement on TV, and that night she prayed, and while she was praying, my ad came on the TV set, and she called, and 2 days later we had reversed that by an emergency motions. We had reversed that judgment on her, and now she's the owner of her house again with no mortgage on it. So I mean, with the mortgage reinstated, but she actually had equity in her house. She wasn't even upside down. She would have. Her life savings was in that property. So,
Mr. Thomas, what is your advice to somebody who is maybe suffering from a similar or fearful of a similar situation, so that you can engage it in a way that is perhaps less emotional and less fearful, and actually allows you to get your house back and sort of counter the process in a rational way?
I agree. What you're saying is what crossed my mind immediately. If here I am, considered a service-connected veteran, I get a pension, I'm fortunate that I still have the monies to take care of such a mortgage. It was just getting to the right person, and it just seemed to rush through so fast that I really didn't know who to contact. I tried, and I got caught up in, and it seemed a whirlwind of sell quick, and let's get him out of his house. And I'm sorry, I've lived in the home many years, 20-something years. It's wheelchair accessible. I need those facilities for myself, and I would never jeopardize anything to try to do this. I don't know what happened. It happened so quickly. Now, I don't have any solutions or any advice, but I know that if it's Americans like myself that do have incomes, when they made the original mortgage agreement, they were friendly and nice and so forth and treated us humanly, and then all of a sudden we're a number. We're just getting out the door. Let's sell this property. If they could just sit down with, I'm sorry, each mortgage company or banking company and go back and say each case and sit down and see if they can't work, that might be some of the solution to where we're heading with this country.
Yeah,
and if I could speak up on behalf, I would just ask for that.
Well, I think that you just did, and we are proud to be able to offer our bullhorn to amplify that message, and we are grateful to both of you, Peter and Donald, for sharing some time this Friday afternoon to enlighten us even further as to exactly what is going on the ground. Thank you, guys.